Hi everyone, welcome back. It's been longer than expected.
We've missed you.
But we're here now.
Let's see what we've been up to. And today's episode of Winging It.
Done. Stone all done. This is where I'm going wrong. So a few weeks ago we left you with the foundations and the rebar poking out. So the next step is to get on with the stone walling. This is not something I'm particularly looking forward to. I don't have much experience in this, any experience actually. So it's going to be very much a suck it and see, and let's see what happens. So one of the many places that we're getting stone from on the land is this, which is a wall that's in the front garden. This is literally just put together with soil, as most of the walls are around here. And we're just assessing the rocks before we put them in the wheelbarrow to take them over. So that way we know everything over there is definitely usable. It's just depending on size. Anything that's rubbish, like it's broken up or frost damage, we're piling up, and then that's going to go into the hardcore for the driveway. We think that this is frost damage, where the moisture's got in the stone and the frost has just blown it apart, and it just crumbles in your hand. You can hear how dead it is. And look, just with a little few taps, it just crumbles away, turns into gravel. It was at this moment they realised they messed up. So obviously the whole levelling area didn't exactly go to plan. Now something else didn't exactly go to plan, and this is totally my fault for not really paying attention. But of course all we actually did was mark the corners of the plot. We measured 7 metres out one way and 6 metres out the other, and we didn't do any more than that. And we got the guy to level the area in between that. The issue is, as the project has evolved, the issue comes now that we had the footings dug on those same lines. Obviously that's where the digger would naturally dig. The line is up against the wall, and then we filled that with concrete and rebar and didn't worry about it again. Now I'm coming to do the walling, I throw a string line in, and by throwing the string never lies. That's the rule. The string never lies. And we are so off square, it is unbelievable. So this back corner, rather than being 90 degrees, is like probably 80 degrees. Like, it's a lot. Now that is totally my fault. I should have checked that. Normally when doing groundworks, like if we knew we were signing up for this, we would have done pins, done straight lines, make sure everything was square, because of course the footings follow the groundwork basically. From a drone, I think this is going to look awful, because when the drone's up in the sky, you're really going to see that angle's off. But I think from the ground, especially in here, you won't be any the wiser. You might see it from up on the decking. Anyway, we have cleaned the footing off because we had a few little collapses. We've cleaned the footing off, we put the string in. I'm going to do my very best to bring this, you know, as much as possible. But at the end of the day, the main focus needs to be a fairly good looking wall that's very strong. That's the aim of the game here. And yeah, I should have known better. I should have known better, but it is done now. It's set in concrete. There's nothing we can do about it. So we just got to work with it and hope that it isn't too obvious. And if it is too obvious, you'll never see this area in a drone shot again. What everybody has said when working with stone, no matter what scenario it is to organise the stone first before you're working with it. So you've got certain piles. So because of that, I have organised my stone into large lumps down here, something like this one down here. It's got a really nice 90-degree edge. This goes in this pile so that when it comes to doing these corners, I know that I've got some really nice 90s in here, but also there's some huge lumps of stone in here which can be sort of feature stones dotted here and there. This is the average stone, so this is like the main sized stone what the majority of the wall is going to be built with. That is also what this pile is exactly the same. This sort of middle stone, the majority that we're going to use. And then this is like small little lumps here that are going to be infill basically. So if we've got gaps or nooks and crannies that we need to fill, we've got some small filler stuff here. We are not even scratched the surface with how much stone we need. I reckon these few piles here are going to give us, I don't know, maybe 20% at most of what we need. I just need to get laying some stone and work this stuff out as we go. This is an old Bulgarian bed frame that we got out of the house, and I saw some locals doing this when we first turned up. I thought it was a brilliant idea. So it's like a looped wire chain link type job, and what they did is they leant it up against a wall and then they threw the sand at it, and it just acted like a sieve. So the rocks ran down and the sand went through, and it means that I can use our river sand here, which has got the stones and the pebbles in it, to throw it on here. It'll thin it through, and then we can use the fine sand for the cement, the mortar that we're going to be using for the stone wall. Fine sand with small stone. Like sharp sand almost in the UK. Absolutely perfect for what we need. Perfect.
This is the first rock. Still very exciting, to be honest.
Right. Done. Stone wall done.
What are you on about? This is really easy.
Been running for about an hour and a half, something like that. Again, I'm just totally getting my eye in with it, getting a feel for what it's, yeah, what looks good, what doesn't. So the truth is, I'm finding this very, very difficult, and I think there's several reasons for that. One, we have very irregular rock. There's no like sort of square faces, so which is not really an issue. But when you've got something that tapers, or it goes to a point, or it's not quite square or flat, you have to find a matching, like the other half of it, if that makes sense. Like another taper. So this one tapers off this way, then this one tapers this way to try and get some kind of level. Now I don't know if I'm going about this the wrong way and trying to work in layers. So there's obviously the first layer down the bottom, and then the second layer, and then a third and a fourth. And I wonder if I'm actually better to put a big rock in here somewhere. So rather than trying to work at the same sort of level, don't worry too much about this top surface level. Throw some stone in here and then pack around it. And I wonder if I will just find the right size bits to go around the rock. I think the truth is you can't be an amateur stone waller and a perfectionist at the same time. And and that doesn't sit well with me. Every time you lay a stone, you're really paying attention to that stone and what's surrounding it and how it looks and what's neighbouring it and everything else. And like, if you pick any stone here, you can be quite surprised by, like this one. It's a nice thin stone. Here there's 3 small stones stacked together and then 2 small lumps underneath to try and make up the difference here. Like, to me, if you look at this area really close up, that's a no-no. It just doesn't work. Yet stand back where the camera is, stand back at that massive view, and you don't even see it. It looks great. Okay, so here my plan is, this one is cemented in, everything else is loose apart from this lower layer. I've got my drainage pipe in here, and I've got this nice rounded one on this side. So I was hoping to bridge this whole lot with this nice big flat stone here. So my sort of hope was to do something like that. Checking it's in line with the string line there. Now, as you can see, it's got a wobble. So what I need to do is pack out this back corner with a lump of stone that will hold that corner up. So that brings us pretty much up to the present day, and this is actually as far as I have got. The truth is I haven't picked up the tools to get on with this for easily a couple of months now, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, we have had almost consistently 40-degree days. It's been very, very high 30s. So the weather has just not been on my side. The cement is setting far too fast. Also, with it being so dry, the risk of this lot caving in is very, very low. This is at risk when it gets really wet. So, and we haven't had any rain for, yeah, literally months now. So at the moment, the risk is low for this, and the progress was very, very slow. We basically had to call it and just go, we need to spend time elsewhere doing other stuff. Like, this was taking so long, it clearly wasn't going to be ready for the pool to be up this year. So we just went, okay, for the moment, we've got up to a fairly decent height. I mean, obviously this is one of the highest points, knee height, which is retaining the majority of this. So that's something. And it means that we can get on with other projects. Now, the other thing with this stone walling, we have learnt, our stone is actually not very good for doing this. Our stone is so badly weathered that everything is rounded, and that makes it very difficult to build walls fairly well with it, because when you have rounded corners, you get these big voids, and it's actually surprisingly hard to either fill those voids with stone without having the mortar on show, and to get them to actually like friction fit against each other. If you've got two flat surfaces or two angular surfaces, they get friction together, and that makes it very strong. When you've got rounded edges, there's no friction, there's nothing to join them. So we have learnt that our stone, the majority of our stone here, is rubbish. And when I went up to the quarry and I got a bootload of stone from the quarry, I was able to stone wall so much quicker, and I was so much happier with it. So this area down here, which I'll show you now, is all from the quarry, and it just slotted together. It was brilliant. And I thought, okay, this really highlights the fact that our stone is no good, or at least not very good. If you're experienced in stone walling, I'm sure you can make it work, but I was really struggling. So the other thing that we have done, we've decided, is we are going to do stone basically up to where this string line is, and only on the back wall, because this whole project was never planned. This whole project came out of nowhere and has escalated to be this massive ordeal now, and all we really wanted was a flat area to put our big pool up. So we had to go, why are we doing this? Like, this is crazy to spend this much time and effort on. Yes, it looks amazing, it really does look good, but we've got houses and barns and landscaping. There's so much else to do, and this just is not a priority. So we do need to retain the bank for winter, for when the weather comes. And so because of that, we have decided to go with brick. Now, this was not a decision we took lightly, but we had to make a decision at the end of the day that we had to get this done. And so what we have done is we have chosen these bricks. Now, these are actually from Greece, and they work out about £3.40 each, which is amazingly cheap for what they are. They're huge, great things. They've got interlocking ends on them, so they're keyed. They've got nice big holes in, so we can put the rebar down the middle, and then we could pour a concrete slurry in here as well to make it all super, super strong. So, and obviously due to the size of them, we'll be able to fly through this wall now. So yeah, it wasn't a decision we took lightly, but I think it's the right thing to do, because at the end of the day, we need this wall built to retain that bank before the rain comes, before the weather gets bad. And so these bricks are going to allow us to get on with that much, much quicker, get it done, get it dusted. We'll have it rendered, and it'll be a nice white render, so it'll be in keeping with the plans for the barns and the house. So it will still keep in, and we'll keep the stone on show on that bottom half, and it'll just taper off. But we are going to do brick from bottom to top here, and the same on that side, and then the brick will just merge into the stone. So it'll be a stone bottom half here. It might not look that great, but at the end of the day, we just had to call it. And because we've had those 40-degree days and this area hasn't been ready, of course, the little pool is back. And it has been an absolute godsend, because whilst we've all been dealing with the heat much, much better this year, we've become much more acclimatised to it. 40 degrees is still 40 degrees, and it is too hot to do anything. So the little pool has been our saviour yet again. This little bargain that we bought, worth every penny. But Next year, the big pool area, this area here, will be done. It will be done and dusted, and we won't have to think about it again. When the summer comes, we'll be able to put the big pool up and enjoy it. So, that brings you up to speed on the wall.
For 7 whole years, I've been waiting for a friend. I mean, I've got a sister, but she doesn't exactly play with me right. So, I've officially got one I can play with.
Why have we got the dog here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll study.
Why have we got the dog?
We thought it was a good idea for you to get some practice in.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Why would we need to get practice in, Alex?
The dog?
Yeah.
Do you want a dog?
Should we get a family dog? Should we get socks?
Do you want Socks to be our dog?
Yes! Were you guys tricking me?
I'm really sorry, Alex. Yes, this is the first time we've ever lied or played tricks on you. But yes, it was a good surprise. But yeah, so that's why Francie and Alex have brought him over to come and say hello, and then he's going to stay with us.
You like him? You like him, yeah?
Yeah. And I promised Francie and Alex that we will take really good care of him. What do you think? So would you like to call him Socks?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
And how come the chicken is taller than the horse? It's okay. Stay straight. Stay straight. Oh, look.
We had to put back to England for a few weeks, and on our return it was clear that our little veggie patch had somewhat blossomed to the extent that it had turned into a jungle. However, it was really lovely to come back to some peppers growing, which I have to say are my biggest success. And also some huge tomatoes. There were a couple of different varieties that I planted, and sadly a lot of them ended up being quite split, but they were delicious. I think my favourite variety were the cherry tomatoes, just because they're so small and juicy. I also came back to some rather large cucumbers, and at first I wondered what they were. I thought like maybe I'd grown squash by accident, but it turns out what actually happened is I had grown a couple of different varieties of cucumber and they had overgrown, so they were just massive. But I've learnt a lot from this little growing lesson.
I've almost got the lot. A whole bowl full. Look. It's good, isn't it, guys? Of tomatoes. I'm going to eat them today. Well, actually in a few minutes. Been picking some bits from Mummy's snack garden. There's some cucumbers as well.
That's it, put it in the basket. Good girl, another one. And more.
Whoa, look at that lot, Ember.
all the red ones. Chavino.
Good girl. I'm not sure on your new planting arrangements, Kayleigh, if I'm honest. Thought you could have done a better job of this one.
Well, it's all very alive. I had kind of imagined this tree like vertical.
In this gap, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd probably fit quite nicely up there too. So for those of you that were wondering what the crack is here, we're just sitting down outside, massive crash, and this is completely rotted off at the base and fallen over. And it's not even windy, but there's not even a reason for it to just come down, but it's given up. So hopefully some of the garden will be salvageable. Well, that's all for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. And I thought I'd show you a few clips here. Our region has been hit the worst on record with wildfires this year. It has been devastating all the way across the Haskovo region. Yeah, the biggest ones on record. We've even had Spanish firefighting planes coming in and dropping water, and it's been a right mess. So we got some footage of the aftermath of this. Obviously all the areas were closed off and evacuated so that the emergency services could do their thing. But yeah, you'll see the devastation that happened here, and the videos here just do not do it justice. It goes, if you look in the distance of these videos, you'll see as far as the eye can see is just all burnt. Tens of thousands of acres have burnt this year. We have got a very special video on the next one, which will be on the 1st of September, so a couple of weeks away. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Thank you for being patient with us, and sorry it's taken so long to get this one to you. Hi everyone, welcome back. Oh, there's nobody else joining me?
And this is what happened. You ready? Let's see it.
Hello. I feel like I'm just waffling on a load of old rubbish now. And you've lost me now, you bloody camera. Just lost my flip-flop now.
Uh-oh, Daddy.
Really the right attire for rock hunting. Uh-oh. Let's see how well this works. She's been a bit moody today. Bit moody.
It's about 5:30 in the morning. Of course. It is about... Good morning. I hate the mornings.